Finally, the summer movies have come in full swing, and they came out fast and then all at the same time. And when I mean the summer movies, I mean movies that you don't mind going to see at the movie theaters. And the reason why is because we've had a lot of duds. It's been one great movie surrounded by a bunch of dud movies. So I decided to combine all the movie reviews of the films that are coming out this week that are worth you going to see. Well, I think that's fair. Other than that, you'd be watching 15 videos. The first movie that's worth anything of going to see. Smart, intelligent, crime, film, drama, Hell or High Water. It's a tale of two brothers, one divorced father, one's an ex-convict, and they start planning these series of bank heists because something's going on with their land about foreclosing on it, and they want to try to get this money so that they can go ahead and try to save their land. This is probably one of the most engaging movies of the summer because you want to see exactly where it goes. And David Mackenzie casting Jeff Bridges to play the sheriff that's hunting him down was classic because this movie is so like West Texas. You're like, man, everybody's a cowboy in Texas. At least in West Texas. So you get to see that whole society, and the diner scene is just hilarious. When you see it, you'll know what it is. You'll start laughing right away. Peter Berg was also one of the producers involved in this type of film. Peter Berg is very good at finding young talent or finding the angle to a story where he starts shooting. Interesting stories make him want to be involved. I'm surprised he didn't direct this film. That was another surprise going into it, but looking at the cast and everyone involved, you knew that you were going to have a pretty, at least decent movie on your hands. But I was so engaged to see what Chris Pine can do and Ben Foster. Ben Foster is probably one of the best natural actors there is. You know, he doesn't get a lot of starring roles where he's the main guy, but he could play any character. And Chris Pine is more than just what people like, oh, he's the pretty boy guy. No, he came up really hard in Hollywood. Like, he's played a lot of different roles. You know, Smoking Aces is one of the first films I've seen him in. He was one of the Tremors. So, if you didn't know that movie, then go back and watch it. And then he's like, whoa, that is Chris Pine. Never knew that. So he never was the Hollywood, you know, it guy coming into the scene. You know, he made himself that. Captain Kirk came along and basically saved him from a lot of dud movies. Because him and Taylor Hitch was running into the same mudslide of trying to be lead actors, and it wasn't quite working out with those movies. But this movie's definitely 4 stars out of 4. Hope you enjoy it. And the next one is Kubo and the Two Strings, baby. Kubo is the best animated film of the year. Now, Kubo also is claymation mixed with CGI. It's one of the best looking films you're probably going to see this year. But just like Japanese stories, Kubo it's a movie that you pretty much I caught it early. You know, I'm good. I'm gifted. Watch a lot of films, but a lot of stuff I didn't see coming. And I'm not gonna tell anybody all the details about Kubo, but this kid is. What you know about him is he's orphaned. He's got one eye that seems like his grandfather took from him when he was a baby. And his mother's trying to protect him from the two sisters. So, and then his grandfather. And they've been living in exile basically since. And of course, in order for there to be a movie, he must be found. But he's trying to find his father's armor, the sword, and shield, because it was the only thing that could protect him from the magic of his grandfather and protect him. So it was a very interesting film. I loved it. You know, I don't know if more kids might like it a lot eventually, but it's more of an adult, to me, adult type interesting animation film, because we are blown away by things like 3D visual concepts and all of that stuff. We're like, wow, this is amazing. And just to see the animation, you know, and all the sophistications that come with it, you know, we're like, wow, this is unbelievable. You know, it's dazzling to look at. The creativity, the storyline. Kids are just going to be like, pick it up. You know, of course, Kubo do silly things to keep the kids engaged, but they kind of far in between. This one focused more on story, so definitely Kubo is like 3.5 out of 4 stars. And next we have on the list, what is War Dogs? War Dogs was surprisingly great. War Dogs is a film with Jonah Hill and Miles Teller, who had great chemistry to me. It's just that both of these guys are childhood friends, Jewish. You know, one became like heavy into selling guns, and he was always into some. Of course, that's Jonah Hill's character. And then the other one is trying to live the average normal life, going into businesses that are failing, you know, and he just basically is like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Now my girlfriend's pregnant, and his buddy's like, look, we was best friends in like grade school and high school. Look, I don't trust anybody, but, you know, I trust you, so you're the only guy I could trust, so I'm going to bring you in with me. And basically what's happening is that the government are giving contracts to not just the big dealers, but to the smaller gun arms dealers too, that could facilitate government military contracts. And they just happen to land on one of the biggest contracts they would ever see, a $300 million gun contract. But before that, it was some interesting contracts that they had to try to fulfill, just being a little company of their own. And this is a true story of what happened with these two guys who just stumbled into something well over their heads. Very well directed by Todd Phillips, which is shocking to me because he always does party films like, you know, The Hangover and stuff like that. So this was entirely different. And I was like, wow, he can really direct. You know, like, this is surprising. I never thought Todd Phillips could pull something like this off, but He did. And, you know, even though the cover looks like a Hangover type movie cover, but the movie's actually very good. And Jonah Hill plays that character to perfection. He actually bought the script because he wanted to play this role. And that's what actors are doing now, buying scripts because they know, hey, this is it. If I buy the script, I'm going to get more of this money. It's mine. So if you write a good script, it might be bought. But now people are looking for these non-fictional, based on the true story type films. Everything's coming out is based on the true story. Now, the next film on the list, oh yeah, I'll give that 3 out of 4 stars. Definitely go see that this week if you can. I know you probably can't see all the movies this week, but it's worth it. The next one on the list, Don't Breathe. Don't Breathe. The suspense thriller. Don't Breathe. 3 teenagers who are love breaking in homes and stealing and grabbing merchandise instead of cash and going for safes. You know, you have one guy who's pretty much sane and one guy that's kind of nuts, and another one that's not a guy, it's a girl. And because she's attracted and has been dating the crazy guy, and that's her boyfriend, but the one that has sense out of all of them, but he still is with him anyway, is doing it because he's in love with this guy's girlfriend. And the other guy knows it too. He's just like, look, you just played the best friend role and be a best friend. Okay? I'm her boyfriend, and so let me play that role. Look. And you know, they're living in Detroit. Her life's not a fairy tale. She's not taking the money for glamour. She wants to save her little sister and get her out of a terrible environment with her mom and all these crazy boyfriends that her mom just keeps bringing home. And it's terrible broken home syndrome. So her plan is to take her little sister and they can get away. So they find one house that's supposed to be the grandmother of all houses. A former war veteran who became blind because of the Gulf War. His little daughter died and he got a big settlement from an accident. And when he got that settlement, he took like $300,000 or something like that, I think. Got $300,000 in the house and it's just him. So they decided, let's go break in this man's house. He's blind. We put some gas out and put him to sleep. We could break in there and start taking stuff from him and getting money from him and all this stuff. So they get in there and find out, even though he's blind, it's his house. And even a blind man in his home, you know, it's his house. And suspense starts happening once, you know, one guy that's with them gets taken out by this blind man. Now the other ones can't make a sound because he's listening for it. That's how he finds people. And he's got guns in his house. He's locked them in. They can't get out without him hearing them. And they're trying to not do anything to set this guy off. It's very suspenseful, very well directed. I've never even heard of this director, but it's produced by Sam Raimi. And it had a Sam Raimi type of feel to it with some of the scenes. But definitely will give it a 3 stars out of 4. I was very impressed with it. I can't really tell too much because I want everybody to be surprised when they see it. There's a lot of scenes in here that were very surprising. That's more on Sam Raimi's type of brand of comedy / horror at the same time. He loves to do that. And the next film on the list, Southside with You. Southside with You is the Michelle Obama, well, she was Michelle Robertson at the time, and their first date with Barack Obama. Now, of course, this is a relationship type film, and you're going to want to take a date to go see it. You're not going to want to go by yourself to see this film. And it's a great film on just relationship period. If you ever dated anybody or been in a relationship, you'll crack up laughing over some of the things that are taking place because you recognize it on a first date. And it was never designed to be a date. They were hanging out and they were supposed to go to a rally event, and Barack Obama decided, let me try to extend this to a date. He had just started working there at this law firm, and she was a lawyer and she was his advisor. So she's there to advise. He's planned this whole thing out an hour early just so he could try to make it a date with her. And she's like, I'm not interested in dating somebody who just walked through the door. First black guy that walks through the door from Harvard. I'm throwing myself on. I'm trying to be taken serious as a woman, and you know how women do. They go into their defensive stance, and that's just it. So he basically learned everything he could about her on this first date. Like, I don't know how much of that was the film or how much of this was, just, we need to put this for the movie, or did this really happen this way? Because he learned basically her entire life story, and she learned his entire life story on this one date. So this doesn't get drawn out to a lot of days. This is one day, one date. So this whole thing, it feels like you're on the date. You're back in 1989 when they first met. So to see Chicago in 89 again, it was kind of a throwback, and I liked it. I like this film a lot. John Legend was the executive producer, so he did a great job. I was very impressed. Richard Taney wrote it, and the guy who played Obama, Parker, he was brilliant. Parker Sawyers and Tika Sumpter. It was good to see her, the character with range. And she could play it very well. She played Michelle Obama. I thought she did a very good job. I was very impressed with him, not seeing him in anything else prior. I think he got the character of Barack Obama, not being the president of the United States, but just being Barack Obama. I think he did a great job of pulling that off. And as you can tell, my voice is dry. My voice is dry right now. So, please forgive me. Alright, so if there's another movie I missed, I'm terribly sorry. But as of right now, this should be enough to sustain you guys over tenfold. Whatever you do, don't go see Bad Moms. And is there any other movie that's out that really blew me away that I like? Wow, I can't really think right now. Well, anyway, Have a great day. I'm out.